Good morning. It's Helen here from Panda Props Creating Joyful Moments. Welcome to my third video. Today we are going to be looking at using Storybook Life words and phrases from the 2025 January scrapbooking catalogue from Stampin' Up and the Mixed Florals set from January to April mini catalogue 2025. Currently it is April 2025 and these sets are still both available. However, you might come back and look at this a few years down the line and these will have been retired. But we'll have come out with something, you know, possibly, well, more than likely even more beautiful than these ones. These are currently my favourite stamps and they bring me so much joy when working with them. Okay. So what we're going to do today is we are going to use printable washi sticker paper from Fomzy. I have to say I did get this from Temu because it is so much cheaper than any other paper out there. I have tried some from Amazon and another seller online, and to be honest with you, it doesn't react as brilliantly with the Stampin' Up inks and other mixed media that I've been using when I've been making these stickers. This is just plain old washi tape that I had, but these are the washi stickers that I've made. I've got one here with Easter eggs on the tree, and because it was Easter this weekend I decided that I was going to do dinosaurs coming out of Easter eggs. Yeah, okay, sue me, I understand. And then my last one, I have done some beautiful butterflies, and they are in our beautiful butterflies stamp set, which is also still available at the moment. And I don't know whether you can see it, but I've actually put a little bit of glitter on the top, and it is made. I just love it, love it. So if you're into journaling, if you're into planning, anything like that, then you know, please have a look, see if you want to do this is something you want to do. These are also stickers that I made recently. If anybody's also interested, I'm using a Hobonichi Cousin planner. This is an A5 and it's dated from April through to the end of March next year. I love this planner because not only does it have monthly sections, it also has daily sections where you can put things that you want to do every day. Obviously I put my work down here, and down the bottom I do various things for home. So I have my menu, but then I also have my design ideas, what I'm going to be putting up on Facebook, life tasks, what we all have to do. Yeah, so that's that. And then there is also one last section, which is this section here, which you can use to track various things. I am currently tracking, but not very well. If I just get the page. My fluids, various bits and pieces, calories, that sort of thing. I'm on a bit of a weight loss journey at the moment. So yeah, but I love this because then you also get your full daily page where you can journal, you can put whatever you want on. Sometimes I do a lot of writing. Sometimes I do very little. It depends. Yeah. So let's get into it then. How did I do my washi stickers? Just move that to one side. So using our mixed florals and the paper. Now this has two sides to it. It has a matte side and it also has a shiny side. It is the shiny side that you need to be able to work on. Because we use the tulips, I'm actually going to use the daisies today. So I really quite like the daisies. Let's put that there. I'm just going to get my stamping block. Now, when you use the stamps, the best thing to do after using your stamp is to immediately clean it. Do not do what I did. I left my black ink on there for some time and it has now stained my stamp. It doesn't affect its stamping ability. It's really, really good. It still stamps beautifully, but yeah, don't do what I do. So quickly just tap. There's two ways to do it. You can either tap it straight on the ink pad, or I prefer to just tap it over here. I'm using the Memento ink in Tuxedo Black. This is fade resistant, but it also lets you colour in with alcohol inks rather than just watercolours. It's better if you're going to be doing that. So I'm just going to print this off to this side. Sorry, stamp this off to this side. It is obviously printable washi paper, so you can print on it if you wanted to. I won't be printing on it. I will just be using it for my own stamps in my planner. So I'm just going to adjust that. It is slightly wobbly. Okay, so what colours are we going to use today? I think because we are doing daisies, I'm going to stick to maybe a yellow palette. So I have our Daffodil Delight, if I'm correct. Yeah, Daffodil Delight. But I might also add a little bit of light pumpkin pie, depending on how I feel. We also need some greens. So today I'm going to be using lemon lime twist. And I'm also going to be using Granny Apple Green. Now, Granny Apple Green is my absolute favourite green. Currently, I hope they never ever get rid of it. Okay, so one of the tips with blending is you should always start with the lightest colour. So we're just going to go over. If you notice, I'm using my brush tip of the Stampin' Up markers, the Stampin' Blends markers. These are fantastic on all types of card because they're alcohol based, but we also do have our Stampin' Write markers. Stampin' Write markers are also brilliant. They are water based. You can actually write straight onto your stamp. So if you were wanting to do different techniques, I might show you that in a second. Different techniques when we're doing this. Now I should have let my ink dry a little bit longer because it's slightly bleeding, but we'll go with it. So tip number 1, let your ink dry. Okay, I'm just gonna pick up a little bit of yellow on the bottom. We don't need much because that's one of the things I like about this particular stamp set is that it's quite fluid. I love working with it. I'm now going to go in with a little bit with a light pumpkin pie just towards the top, blending that in slightly with the other colours. Yeah, it's best if you leave it to dry a bit longer than I did. Maybe I should have had one prepared. Now I'm actually going to go in with the darker pumpkin pie. Oh, let's go light pumpkin pie first. Okay, again, pretty much fluid. And then I'm just going to pick up where these speckles are with this slightly darker shade. Stampin' Up are very good when they make their stamps. They often will show you where the shading is, and it becomes really, really useful. Right, so I'm going to pick up my light lemon lolly now to do some leaf work and some stalks. So just going to do a few dashes of the light lemon lolly. Maybe down the stalks a little bit. Again, I'm very fluid when I colour. I don't tend to stay within the lines, especially with a stamp set like this. I'm now going to pick up my Granny Apple Green and just come in. And this is the light Granny Apple Green. Now, obviously, I'm using quite a few different colours. If you've got coloured pencils, if you've just got watercolour pencils, watercolours, you could do the same thing. This, as I said, this paper is absolutely stunning for picking up those things. Now, I'm going to use my dark pumpkin pie because I want to just pick up the centre of these flowers here. And then I'm going to quickly add my light pumpkin pie around it. Again, not spending loads of time, but I do think my leaves need a little bit more attention. I will do a video on proper blending at a later stage. So I'm just going to use my dark granny apple green just to pick up a little bit, and maybe the underneath of the leaves that are there. Just to give it a little bit more definition, and maybe on the stalks. And then I'm going to take my bullet nib and I'm just going to go over the stalks of these smaller flowers. Again, it doesn't have to be massively fluid. Right, okay, I'm actually really quite happy with that. Do I want to go in with a little bit darker on the daisy slightly with, just pick that up very slightly on the edge possibly. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect, but I really quite like that effect. Okay, so we now have this, and we're going to literally just trim around it very, very quickly. Because this paper is pretty much transparent, I just have been loosely trimming around it. What you can do is that you can, there are dies that go with the mixed floral set, which you can use, which would get you a lot closer to the actual image, but for quickness and ease today, I am just cutting around, and I'll show you how easily they, you know, it fits into the, on the paper of the planner. Now, one of the reasons I really like this paper is because the Hobonichi planner is a Japanese make. The Hobonichi planner has what we call Tomo River paper in it. And Tomo River paper is very, very thin. Very, very thin. It is, I don't know if you can see how thin it is. It is really, really thin. So I prefer, that's what I did earlier today. That's why I prefer this washi sticker paper, because it is so thin and it needs, you know, just so it doesn't start bulking up your planner. I'm not a, some people love, absolutely adore a chunky planner. I did in the past, but it's definitely not me now. I much prefer a thinner, more, less chunky planner, especially when it's an A5 size and you may have to carry it around. Right, okay, so as you see, I've just peeled the back off a little bit of the way down, and you can see how thin that really is. So I'm just gonna, I quite fancy it there, I'm just gonna layer that bit down, and then I'm just gonna use, oh, one of my hairs, I'm just gonna use my finger, there we go, and it sticks beautifully. And I don't know whether you can really see, but it is very, very transparent. As I say, if you wanted to have slightly less of an edge, you could do. But I've been playing with this for a few days and I actually really quite like this look. Right, so we're going to go back to, I had actually cut out a Hello Spring, which I was going to put in there. But I'm going to show you the Stampin' Right markers. So I'm just going to pick up my stamp. And you know what I didn't do? Who didn't clean their stamp after saying we need to clean our stamps? Yeah, I need to keep remembering myself to do this. Okay, I'm just going to move that at an angle there. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use our Stampin' Right markers. So I have my favourite, which is Granny Apple Green. And I'm going to do Hello in the Granny Apple Green. So let's just colour that over. You see how easily it's going on. As I say, these are water-based, which are brilliant. And then I'm going to pick up the colours. I think I'm actually going to use, I think, my, yeah, pumpkin pie. The orange. Okay. If I wanted to, I could obviously pick up more than 2 colours. I could make this, you know, put 3 colours on this if I wanted to, that sort of thing. Yeah, it would work. It would pick up, you maybe wanted to have, if you had some pinks and reds, you could pick up the pinks and reds in there. Right, okay, let's bring our paper back in. And we're just going to stamp here. Now, I've not done this on this paper before, so this is a new, oh, okay. I'm actually, I know it's not perfect, it would have been had I spent a little bit more time going over, but I actually quite like the effect. Just cleaning the stamp, proving that I'm cleaning my stamp. Okay, so I'm just going to cut round. Again, not spending massive amounts of time because of the translucent nature of the paper. Obviously the paper is, I mean, it's around about £6 for a pack of 20, as I said, from Temu, but you know, if you're careful with it, it will last. And also if you spend some time, what am I thinking? Can't think this morning. Making sure that you use where you position your stamps on it. You could stamp a whole sheet and then colour it in to ensure that you're making the most of the paper. Okay, so again, just peeled off a little bit of the corner. Where are we going to put it? We're going to put it up, or we're going to put it at the side? I think I'm actually going to put it at the side here and overlap slightly. Oh, stickers. I also like how they do overlap very, very nicely. And they also write. You can also write brilliantly on top. Yeah. So I'm using this page in April, which is, I used the second before. And I'm using the third because I actually started my planner on the 16th. So I've got some pages that I can play with, work out how I'm going to set out my planner going forward. Yeah, so it's really nice. And as I say, love this. So our last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use our Wink of Stella. Wink of Stella is this beautiful, I don't know whether you can really see, sorry. It's not, must get this perspective right, okay. It's a bit glittery, it is lovely, and it picks up, just beautiful, and I absolutely adore using it. I use it on an awful lot of my projects. So all I'm doing is picking up the leaves of my daisies and go a quick blend over the top of that. I'm just going to pick up the daisies, nothing else. And that just gives it, when you turn your planner over, it just gives it a little bit of sparkle. Okay, so that is it. So yeah, using the wonderful stamp, the Fomsy printable washi paper, the mixed floral stamp set, and the scrapbook life stamp set. And what you can do is with this one, it is a great one. I know this says Easter Blessings, and it also has Hip Hop Hooray. What you could do is you could just use the hip and put another hip and then have the hooray underneath. You could use Sunny on its own, Hello on its own. You've got Big Smiles here, Special Moments, Blessings on its own. There's loads of different ways to use this set apart from just Spring. So yeah, I hope you really enjoyed this video. Like and subscribe if you have liked it, please. Put me some comments in it if you've enjoyed it. If you want to see different things, please let me know. All right, thank you very, very much. Take care.